In the depths of the Atlantic, ships patrol the coasts of West Africa while machines scrape the seabed for oil, gas, and gold. The ocean floor, once myth, is now market. In 2025, the Gulf of Guinea became a crossroads of power. Navies drill, drones watch. And in Kingston, Jamaica, the International Seabed Authority struggles to write rules for a race beneath the waves. By 2025, the Gulf of Guinea had become one of the busiest maritime zones on Earth. The Nigerian and French navies launched Exercise Crocodile Lift 2025, testing amphibious landings and joint command. At the same time, Operation Delta Sanity 2 hunted oil thieves and illegal refiners through the Niger Delta, while new armed drones prepared for patrol, eyes in the sky guarding pipelines and ports. Yet all this activity serves a larger prize: the minerals of the deep seabed and cobalt, nickel, and gold hidden in crusts and nodules thousands of meters below. Regulating that frontier is the task of the International Seabed Authority, headquartered not in Lagos or Paris but in Kingston, Jamaica. Created by the UN Convention on the Law of the Sea, the ISA governs exploration and upholds the principle that the seabed is the common heritage of humankind. But by mid-2025, the world still had no final rulebook for mining the deep. A deadline passed. A company applied for permits outside the system, and the ISA Secretary General warned that such actions broke international law. The mining code remains unfinished, suspended between ambition and ethics. The deeper we reach, the fewer the rules that hold us. At the same time, the ocean itself is warming. NOAA's data show sea surface temperatures across the tropical Atlantic reaching nearly 29 degrees Celsius, a full degree hotter than historical averages. Every extra degree means more stored energy, more evaporation, more fuel for storms. Disturbing sediments releases trapped methane and reduces water clarity, allowing the sea to absorb even more heat. The Atlantic is becoming a thermal battery, charged by both climate and commerce. From that same heated corridor, a cluster of thunderstorms gathered off West Africa. Within days they organized, drawing strength from the warm water below and spinning westward across the ocean. Meteorologists named it Melissa. The storm was born in the same nursery as most Atlantic hurricanes, the African easterly wave. But this time the water was hotter, the air heavier, the fuel endless. Each convective burst fed the next until rotation became structure, and structure became a storm. What began as weather became consequence. As Melissa crossed the Atlantic, she carried within her the energy of everything humanity had done beneath those waters. Drilling, mining, shipping, all tiny inputs into the planet's vast heat equation. By the time she reached the Caribbean, her pressure had dropped sharply. The storm had become a mirror, reflecting both climate science and human policy. For Jamaica, Melissa was not just a meteorological event, it was a financial one. Since 2021, Jamaica has defended its economy with an instrument called a catastrophe bond.
Frequently. Now, all of these have to be financed. All of the costs that come from this, money has to come from somewhere to pay. And the regularity with which we have been having these experiences suggests that we need to plan for it and not deal with it in an ad hoc way. Most of the way in which these natural disaster occurrences are financed is by diversion of budgetary allocation. So money is allocated to ministries, departments, and agencies, allocated to important infrastructure projects, and in the event of a natural disaster, that money is diverted.
A financial shield created with the World Bank. Renewed in 2024 for $150 million. It uses 19 geographic boxes laid across and around the island. If a hurricane passes through one of those boxes, with enough wind and low pressure, money is released instantly. No damage reports, no delays. Investors lose their stake. The nation gains recovery cash. Precision replaces plea. But that precision has a price. It demands perfection. When Hurricane Beryl struck in 2024, its eye missed the key boxes by a few miles. Jamaica suffered, but the bond remained silent. Only the regional Caribbean catastrophe risk insurance facility paid out $26.9 million. That difference between what happened and what the model recognized is called basis risk. In the language of finance, it is the space between truth and data. In the language of survival, It is the distance between rebuilding and waiting. Now Melissa approaches the same invisible grid. If her core crosses one or more boxes at the right pressure, Jamaica could receive up to $150 million within days. If she veers north or weakens, the nation gets nothing. 19 coordinates stand between devastation and relief. To investors, those rules are the guarantee of clarity. To Jamaicans, they are invisible walls drawn across the sea. Across the Atlantic, policy mirrors physics. While the ISA struggles to regulate deep-sea mining, scientists from Seabed, 2030 and Ocean Quest race to map the entire ocean floor by 2030. Each sonar ping reveals both resource and risk. To map is to measure. To measure is to claim, and every claim carries the heat of responsibility. The same seabed mining that promises minerals for clean energy also releases the gases that heat the sea. The same satellites that track storms feed the databases that drive catastrophe bonds. Science, security, and finance now orbit one another like planets around a warming sun. Melissa's story is the story of our era. A storm born from African waters, powered by industrial heat, measured by mathematical grids, and priced on global markets. From the naval drills off Lagos to the bond triggers in Kingston, the planet's systems are tied by currents we can no longer see. The 19 boxes around Jamaica are not just lines of latitude and longitude. They are symbols of how humanity now defines risk, not by faith or fear, but by numbers, satellites, and temperature thresholds. Yet beneath those numbers lies a deeper truth. We built the heat, and we must now learn to live inside it. In the quiet after the storm, the sea remembers everything, every drill, every map, every degree of heat. The Atlantic keeps its records not in archives, but in currents, in temperature, in storms. And each new hurricane, like Melissa, writes our next entry in the ledger of cause and effect. Stay tuned to PSYT, your site. One side to the landslide, one